Hello everyone, in this video we are going to cover the basics of Mongo. So we've already sort of set up and gotten the ability to connect. So go ahead and make sure you're connected and I will see you inside. Okay, so now I'm gonna click on the Mongo SH down here. I don't know why, there we go. Okay, and so basically what we can do is we can use this shell here to affect the data in the cloud.mongodb.com, which is where our data is all stored. So I'm gonna hit browse collections so we can actually look at the collections that we have. Okay, so I am in my app and there's collection 1 with the value of test value 1. So this is a document here inside of the collection. So we can add new documents. It's as simple as running the command here in the shell. And so basically how this works is we start out with the DB, which gives us the current database. So in this case it's test. So if I want it to be in, well, let's just give it a try as test. So I'm going to say DB dot collection 1 dot, and I'm going to insert a record into this collection 1. And so basically this shows up, the format is like an object, and an object, we basically just have a curly brackets and then key value pairs. So we actually need to say insert though. So we're going to say insert, or you could say find if you want to find records. But because we want to add more records, we're going to use insert. So I'm going to say insert, and you can either insert many or you can insert one. And so let's start out with just inserting one. And I'm going to say test colon, and then the value is going to be hello 1 2 3. So then I'll hit enter, and it acknowledged it and it inserted it. It inserted it with an object ID because Mongo automatically takes care of unique identifiers. So you need a unique identifier so you can identify each object or each document. So now if I refresh, instead of seeing it in my app collection 1, we see it in test, and that's because that's the database that we're currently using. So you can see that here it says test. So if we look at test and click collection 1, we get hello 1 2 3. And so I don't want it in this test, so I want it in my app. So we can delete this if we want. So I'm just going to say test, delete. There's a little trash can button because I don't want that. So I want all this stuff in my app. So I'm going to say my app. So use my app. And then hit enter, and it's going to switch to the my app database. And then if you press the arrow, you can rerun the command. So db.collection1.insert1 hello 1 2 3. So now if I go back here and refresh, we have 2 values in our my app collection 1, or 2 documents. So that's cool. And if you want to insert many, you can do that as well. But what if you want to change the collection name, or you want to add to a different collection? Well, in Mongo, it's super easy. All you have to do is just insert into whatever database as if it was already there, or the collection as if it was already there. So I'm going to say, instead of db.collection1 insert 1, we'll say pets. So I'm going to say pets insert 1, and then I'll say pet underscore name is going to be Chuck. Okay, and then enter. And so we should have a pet name, or a pets collection with 1 document in it with a key value pair of pet name, and then the value of pet name is Chuck. And there's two ways that we can see what we got. We can say db.pets.find and parentheses, and it will show us the pet names, or we could refresh in this browser. I'm just pressing Control R. Okay, and then we can see here this pets collection now exists, and if we click on it, we can see that we have our pet name of Chuck. And so that's kind of cool. And if you want to insert multiple pet names at the same time or multiple documents, you can do that as well. So instead of insert one, we'll do insert many. And so let me just go ahead and start over. So db.pets.insert and then many. And the capitalization matters here, so make sure it's a capital M there. So insert many, and then we have parentheses, and then we're gonna insert an array of objects, which is basically just a list, and this list is basically just objects separated by commas. So just like how we inserted one here with the curly brackets, we would just insert this object into an array, and then we can insert as many as we want. So we have these square brackets to indicate an array, and then we can do an object here. And so we'll say pet underscore name, and I'm going to say the pet name is Charlie. And then after this curly bracket, I'm going to say comma, and I'm going to add another object, curly brackets, and we'll say pet underscore name is Pixie. Okay, and then we've got our square bracket and then our parentheses. So I'm going to hit enter. And now we can see that there's been two objects that have been added. So let's go ahead and refresh. Okay, and we see Chuck, Charlie, and Pixie. So we have successfully added those, and then we could do the same thing with db.pets.find. So one thing I want to do, just to make this easier to read, because it's going to get kind of unruly here, is I'm going to go ahead and open up a new text editor, and I'm going to give you all the commands. That way you can just copy and paste them. Well, I would encourage you to type them out yourself, but you know, I understand that typos happen and they're hard to find, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a file for us all to use. So we inserted many, and the next thing that I wanted to do is show you that we can add multiple values. So let's go ahead and insert one again, and I'm going to do db.insert1. I'm just going to copy, I'm going to write it here, and then I'm going to copy and paste it in. So insert one, and then we have an object here. And you know what, let's actually separate this object like that. Okay, so insert one, and we have a pet underscore name. Let's say Josie is the pet name. And we can give it more properties, more key value pairs. So if we want to get the age, capture the age of this pet, we can just do age, colon, and then the value of this pet's age. And then we can also do stuff like is hungry, and then you can say set to true or false. And so that's what's a Boolean. So true or false is the Boolean. Okay, so this should be good for now. So, oh, and actually it's not db.insert1, it's db.pets.insert1. So let me copy and paste this. Copy, and I'm going to paste this into here. db.pets.insert1, enter. Okay, so that has been acknowledged as well. And so one thing that's interesting about Mongo compared to SQL is we can see that the documents are totally different. So db.pets.find and we'll see that we get like 2 that just have a pet name, and then 1 that has, what am I looking at? It says a pet name. Okay, but 1 has a pet name, age, and is hungry. So in SQL, that would be much more difficult to do because it's all about tables and columns and structure. So, but with Mongo, everything is very free flow. If you want to add something, you could just add it. So that's kind of different. It's not better or worse, I don't think. It's just different. And so that's inserting. So I'd like to have you insert a few more records just to get some practice. And then once you feel comfortable with that, we're going to insert a bunch of items, and we'll cover something. We'll cover some of this a little bit later or in the next video, but we'll go ahead and let's do one more insert db.pets.insert many. And this time we're gonna, because it's an insert many, we're gonna add an array. So I'm gonna separate this out. I feel like it's a lot easier to read that way. And then we're gonna say, here's the array, and we need an array of objects. And so what I wanna do is I wanna say pet underscore name colon pet3 age 4, well, how about pet A, age 4 is hungry, false. And then, so this is a separate object, comma, and then another object, we'll say pet name, pet B, age 18 is hungry, true, and let's give it a weight. So weight of 136 pounds. Okay, and so let's give it a try on inserting this. So copy, paste, enter, and it looks like it worked. So let's go ahead and just refresh real quick just to make sure. Okay, so we look down here, we get pet A and pet B, and we get the weight and is hungry false, is hungry true. So we're good here. Now let's go ahead and insert a bunch of records. So what I want you to do is I'm gonna have a long command that you can run, and it's gonna insert like 10 or 11 pets. And so it's gonna be right here, and you can insert those. So go ahead and copy it wherever it is. It should be under the video somewhere, and then paste it in. And so we're gonna get a bunch of pets, and then we're gonna start playing around with this data. So hit enter. Okay, and we should have a bunch of data now. Okay, yep, and we see we have 17 documents now. And the ID looks a little bit different, and we're gonna cover that. So I'll see you in the next video.